Picture this: the late 18th century, a time of great social and political upheaval. Europe, particularly France, was a simmering pot on the brink of boiling over. Amidst the grandeur of palaces and the opulence of the aristocracy, the common people struggled to make ends meet. The gap between the haves and the have-nots was ever widening. The monarchy, with Louis XVI at the helm, was steeped in decadence and disconnected from the realities of common life. The aristocracy, privileged and exempt from taxes, were indifferent to the plight of the masses. The common people, burdened by heavy taxes and plagued by food shortages, were seething with discontent. Fueled by Enlightenment ideals of liberty, equality and fraternity, the stage was set for an upheaval that would shake the very foundations of the French society. Against this backdrop of inequality and unrest, the French Revolution was inevitable. The French Revolution didn't just happen overnight, it was triggered by a series of events. It began with a financial crisis. France was knee-deep in debt, largely due to its involvement in the American Revolution and excessive spending by Louis XVI and his court. In an attempt to solve the financial crisis, the king convened the Estates General in 1789, a body that had not met for over 150 years. But instead of providing the solution the king had hoped for, the meeting led to a seismic power shift. The Third Estate, representing the common people, broke away and declared themselves the National Assembly. The tension reached a boiling point on July 14th, when a mob stormed the Bastille, a royal fortress and prison in Paris. This event, known as the storming of the Bastille, was more than just a riot against tyranny. It was a symbolic act against the Ancien Régime, marking the start of the revolution. With the fall of the Bastille, the revolution truly began. From the ashes of the old regime rose a new order, but it was not without its own share of terrors. The abolition of the monarchy in France marked the end of centuries-old traditions and the birth of a new political entity, the First French Republic. But this transition was far from smooth. In the wake of the monarchy's downfall, power was seized by the Jacobins, a political group led by the charismatic and ruthless Maximilien Robespierre. The Jacobins were driven by a desire for equality and freedom, but their methods were anything but democratic. Robespierre and the Jacobins were instrumental in instigating the Reign of Terror, a period of intense violence and repression that lasted from September 1793 to July 1794. During this time, anyone suspected of counter-revolutionary activities or disloyalty to the Republic was swiftly dealt with. The guillotine became a chilling symbol of this era, its blade falling on the necks of thousands, regardless of their status or innocence. The Reign of Terror was not just a time of physical violence, but also a time of psychological terror. The Jacobins used propaganda to create an atmosphere of fear and suspicion, turning neighbour against neighbour. Even the slightest hint of dissent could lead to accusations of treason, and once accused, innocence was almost impossible to prove. But the Reign of Terror was not to last. Robespierre's brutal tactics began to alienate many, even within his own party. In July 1794, he was arrested and executed, marking the end of the Reign of Terror. His death was met with relief by many who had lived in constant fear for their lives. The Reign of Terror was a dark and bloody chapter in the revolution, marking the height of revolutionary fervour. But it also served as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked power and the thin line between freedom and tyranny. Despite its brutality, it was an integral part of the journey that would ultimately lead to the establishment of a democratic France. The French Revolution changed the course of history, but at what cost? With the fall of Robespierre, the Reign of Terror came to an end, but it left in its wake a nation scarred by violence and upheaval. The vacuum of power that followed saw the rise of a man who would leave an indelible mark on France and the world, Napoleon Bonaparte. Under his leadership, the French consulate was established, providing a semblance of stability after years of chaos. But the effects of the revolution extended far beyond the borders of France. It sparked a wave of revolutionary fervour that swept across Europe, shaking the very foundations of monarchies and igniting a burning desire for liberty and equality. The revolution also brought about significant social and cultural changes, including the spread of nationalism, the rise of secularism, and the redefining of traditional gender roles. The French Revolution, a decade of turmoil, forever changed the political landscape of France and the world. To say the French Revolution was a significant event in history would be an understatement. Indeed, it was a seismic shift that forever transformed the landscape of politics and society. We've journeyed together through the causes of this monumental event, from the crippling financial crisis to the profound social inequality that sparked the revolution. We witnessed the Reign of Terror, a chilling period of mass executions and radical political change, where the guillotine became a grim symbol of revolutionary justice. The aftermath brought about a new order, a society fundamentally reshaped by the ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity. The French Revolution, though fraught with bloodshed and chaos, played a pivotal role in shaping modern nations by inspiring the fight for democracy and human rights. And that, friends, is the French Revolution in a nutshell. History is full of such fascinating stories, so make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to stay updated on our future videos. Until next time, keep exploring history.